everyone. So glad you're joining us tonight. This is Table Talk Thursdays with me, Elyse Ann Psychic. I am the Psychic Liaison, Bridge to the Unseen. And I know I'm just going live right now, so I want to wait for some people to show up. As I'm waiting, though, let me just say welcome. This is an interactive open forum where we share and learn from each other. Tonight's topic is, are you an empath? And every week we have different topics, and I'm always open to suggestions. As you show up, just say hi, let me know you're here, and welcome to those that are coming and joining us this evening. Like I said, this is Table Talk Thursdays. This is a weekly live event. And this evening in our interactive forum, we will be sharing and talking about, are you an empath? And this is an interactive forum, so I would love for people to give me your thoughts. Don't wait for me to necessarily ask a question. I love the back and forth. I learn from these lives also. I have a lot of fun. We share ideas and strategies and anything that comes up. So let's talk about, are you an empath? Uh, um, and I have to answer that question. And my answer to that is absolutely yes. I am an empath. I have always known, always been an empath. Usually, when somebody is an empath, they always have been, whether they're aware of it or not. But where I'd like to start is I was guided to look up the definition of empath. And the definition of empath is showing an ability to understand and share the feelings of another. And very interestingly enough, to me, that's very mind based. And we are going to talk tonight not about the mind based empathic, but about the true feeling. There's a huge difference. And again, I know, hi, Angel Heart, welcome. Glad you're joining us this evening. Let us know you're here. Say hi. Um, so, um, like I said, that definition is very mind-based. It's about, having an ability to understand and share. That's very mind-based. The empath that I want to share about is the feeling empath. And again, I've been this way my whole life. And it has, what I've said in the past and will continue to say is, it can make it very difficult. I don't mean to laugh at that because I've struggled with it, but it can make it very difficult to be in this world because there's so many things I want to cover. That's why I keep kind of falling over my words because I've lived this and I still do. So it can make it really difficult, especially when you're younger, because there's not an understanding. You're not sure why. You just feel. You feel everything. You feel everybody else's stuff. It's not about just understanding it. Again, that's an intellectual level. It's about actually feeling it. So it makes it difficult to know or understand. Hi, Patricia. Welcome. I'm glad you're joining us this evening. This makes it really difficult because you're not sure what's somebody else's and what's yours. And again, I'm talking about even from a little child, but obviously if you're joining us this evening, you feel that you may be an empath or you are an empath, and how do you navigate that? We're going to talk about that also. And I'd love, as I said before, everyone, welcome, say hi. And please feel free to share, ask questions, make comments. I say this every week. I'm not going to sit here and talk at you guys for an hour. That's not what this is about. So make sure you're interacting if you feel safe. This is a safe environment. Okay. Now I can go back to when I was a child. And I looked back. It was very interesting as I sat today and just thought about it. So many things fall into place more and more, some more understanding. I'm a highly sensitive person. I've always been. And I used to be told, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, because my feelings would get hurt a lot. And the reason why I'm sharing my experience is because I'm assuming that you yourselves have experienced some of this, if not all of it. So I really, my message is you're not alone with that. And again, we're going to talk about how we can help ourselves with that. And feel free to let me know how you feel that you are experiencing your own empathic nature. Because I want to say it's nature, because it truly is. It's our soul, it's our intuition, it's our psychic ability. And we feel, I don't know how many of you have been on my weekly Wednesday live where I do mini readings. Um, and please feel free to join us on that too every week on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Arizona time, which is Mountain Standard Time. Sometimes you'll see me first react by saying, I can feel you're jittery, or I can feel you're angry, or I can feel you're confused. I'm literally experiencing that within my own body. And that I have done a lot of work to understand the difference between mine and somebody else's. But that's where I know a lot of us can get very mixed up, uncomfortable. Hi, everyone. Let me know you're here. Say hello. Let us know that you're joining us. Oh, there we go. Hi, Dina. And hi, Tony. Yes, definitely very sensitive and always felt everyone else's feelings the minute I walked in a room. Oh, that's exactly it. And hi, Christy. Welcome. It's very, very true, because we're highly sensitive people. And I know, like I said before, for me, when I was younger, I was told by my family, you're too sensitive, you're too emotional. And that was really rough, because I didn't understand it. It was just who I was. But you see, remember, if you've ever been told that or mentioned that, why are you acting that way? Or why are you so sensitive? Or why do your feelings get hurt so much? Oh my, everything hurt my feelings. Because hi Elvira, welcome. Because I am an empath. And because I feel other people's stuff, it's not just my own. And for example, um, you know, have you ever woken up one day, you're fine, you've had a lovely dream state, and you wake up in the morning and instantly you just feel angry. You don't know why, because you're an empath and you're picking up on energies. And I'm going to jump around a little bit, because what came to me, because I'm connected with spirit, so they guide this and messages come through. Yes, you. Oh yes, oversensitive. You see, that is a common theme. Um, I don't know how many of you have been feeling it, especially this last week. All I can tell you is, wow. Even with all the tools that I have and working with my team, it was tough. And what I'm here to tell you is there is this very heavy energy on the planet. Some of it we know from what we're experiencing and seeing, but as an overall, to me, I see it as a light versus dark scenario. And as the light gets brighter, because there's more and more people embracing love and light, being a light worker. Um, and and what's happening is our vibration rises, we vibrate higher, our frequency goes higher. Of course, we're going to get pushback, if you will. Hi, Carissa, welcome. Glad you're here. The dark, if you will, pushes back harder, and that's what we're seeing. Yes, yesterday was extremely heavy energy. Yes, I'll have to tell you, I was taken out over the weekend. I With everything I know and all the tools I have and all the work I've done to heal, I was struggling so much over the last like 5 days. I was crying. I was just so emotional. I was down. It was tough, tough, tough. So I understand. I live it too. Now, let me see. Dana said I've always been able to read people, not too emotional, okay, but can perceive others' feelings and have a better understanding of them. Okay, so Dana, I want to ask you, when you say you can read people, is that more from a mind space, or can you actually feel it in your body? Do you feel other people's feelings? Just curious, because there are, some of it is mind-based, some of it, the empathic part that I'm focusing on tonight is about the actual feeling. And what I want to say about that, Dana, is because I believe I understand where you're going at. Because one of the things that, as when we're an empath, we many times don't feel like we fit in. And welcome everyone. As you come, please let us know that you're here. Just say hi. And if you want to interact with comments, questions, please do. Otherwise, you can observe, but just let us know you're here. This is Table Talk Thursdays with me, Elyse Ann Psychic. It's every Thursday. So remember to follow and like my Elyse Ann Psychic page, and you will get notifications of when I go live. I have another live on Wednesdays, free mini readings. So you can feel them, Dana. Okay, very good. So it's really hard because Elvira, I feel other people's feelings and that sucks. You don't like it. Okay. And tonight we are going to talk about a few things we can do to help ourselves. Some of this is about just getting really clear what is yours and what is somebody else's. So by us talking about this tonight and sharing tonight, hopefully it'll bring us all to a clearer awareness that we can start to separate what's ours and what's somebody else's. So going back to the feeling other people and reading them, that's very, very true. And as an empath, we many times can feel like we don't fit in. We can feel very, I almost want to say out of sorts, because I know for me, especially, Christy, is it the same as intuition? Yes, it's very much connected with and a part of. That is my belief system, because you are tapping in on a psychic level, an intuitive level. And that's where you're able to pick up those signals, if you will, or those feelings, if you will. So yes, I feel is it exactly the same? I feel it's part of. It's part of intuition. So I know for myself, I've struggled a lot through my life because I've always been able to read people. I've always known. I've always known. And I've been in situations over and over and over and over again where there's a person that a lot of people are really keen on and like, and I'm not judging that. Their energy fits, whatever it is. But I was always able to know what their intentions truly were. It's almost like that saying, you could see through people, you could read through people. And that is the intuitive part of being an empath with this, because you just knew. And sometimes it was really, it has been for me, and I don't know if it's been for you, but it can make it really difficult at times to reconcile. Like, everybody else thinks this is a great person, but I'm feeling, I don't know about this. And so I know for myself over the years, I don't do it anymore, but before I really developed and really understood all this and really worked with myself and to heal some of myself, I, I would question myself. And I have a distinct feeling that a lot of you do that. Okay, Tony says I would actually get stomach aches as a kid when people in my household, but not me, would be having bad days. I've learned to block most out, but lately it's been hard with everyone feeling so much lately. Yes, that's why I spoke about this weekend. I usually, I know for sure when people are fake. That's what Elvira says. Yes, this is all about you being an empath. And the feeling of the stomach ache, it's the same thing. It's about, excuse me, there is a lot of heavy energy right now. It's deep, it's intense. Hi, Marty, welcome. It is flying everywhere. And the reason I shared my weekend with you about how, I mean, literally, I had a tough time getting myself out of that hole. I really did. And usually I can do it within a minute. When I start to feel down, I know right away. I can talk to myself and bring myself out of it. But this weekend, it had me down for about 5 days. I have to be honest. So that tells me that it is a very thick and deep intense energy. Now, what I want to offer with that is, if you can keep in mind that we are all being pushed into a direction of getting straight with ourselves, healing, going deep and understanding, moving through our issues, because we are being pushed. What I'm being shown is almost through a tunnel, and we're going to come out into an opening. And I have felt this for a very long time. We are on our way to a much, it doesn't appear that way, I know, and sometimes I still go, really? Okay. Much gentler, more loving, compassionate, and understanding world. How long that's going to take, not really sure, but this is the higher purpose for all of us as we're moving forward. And as much healing as you may have already done, I know for myself, I've done a lot. It's still coming up. There are lots of things that are still being unearthed. So offer yourself some grace, be kind and gentle with yourself on that. And I'm talking about this because we are empaths and we feel it. We feel it. And sometimes we just can't discern what's ours, what's somebody else's. And one of the tools I'd like to offer to you, excuse me, is ask yourself, truly ask yourself, does this fit what I was really feeling, or does this really fit my experience today or in that moment? You know, you may have just had a very happy moment, and then instantaneously all of a sudden you're sad and there's no reason. There's nothing you can tell in your environment that would cause that. I'm going to almost guarantee you've tapped into somebody else's emotions. That's the empath in you. Now, Dana says, for me, I can sense their true thoughts and what is the motivation for their behavior in a deeper level than they even want to admit sometimes. Absolutely. 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 And I have to tell you, I won't name who these people are. They are famous people. But from a very, 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 very young age, there's two in particular people that I just couldn't. I couldn't look at them. I couldn't. What one is a actor and producer. And this goes way, way back. And I never understood why, but I could not, didn't want to see them. I had no interest, could not even look at the person. And some not so great information came out about this person over the years. Not what I would consider great character. And I'm not going to get into details. I'll leave it to you at that. But I've known, and it can be very difficult, especially when you're talking about, hold on one second. Krista says, I missed this heaviness last week, was in class working with spirit. I haven't gone down. Grateful. That's awesome. I'm so glad for you. That is great. And yes, I've seen some of your posts, so that's awesome. And that's the way, you get more into that vibration. You connect with like-minded. You can connect with your spirit team. I know I say that like a lot, but that's where I sit with all of it, because it helps me to keep clear. It helps me to turn to spirit and say, okay, help me clear this out and show me what it is that I may need to, um, excuse me, do for myself. A little itchy nose there. It seems when I do readings or things like this, it's been for years, my nose starts itching. I don't know why. It's one of those things. Anyhow, okay. So, um, again, it's not of a mind thing where you know, or you can understand. It's you actually feel it in your body. Now, the other piece of this that I really want to talk about is not just feeling the emotions of others, but feeling the physicality. I don't know. Some of you may have had this with like very close relatives or close, people that you were very close with in your life, and actually feeling their pain, their discomfort, their energy. Okay, and I know for myself, even with everything I know, it's funny, not funny, but my sister and I sometimes cord when it comes to physicality. And, 2 days later, we'll talk to each other and she'll be, oh, I'm having problems here. It kind of hurts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I know why that part of my body was hurting because I couldn't understand it. I was in a lot of discomfort. So, what you can do with that, if you ever feel something like that, I'm a huge advocate of Archangel Michael. You will hear me talk about Archangel Michael, well, not nonstop, but a lot because Archangel Michael helps with that. He helps clear the energy. He helps clear negativity. He also can help you to disconnect the cords. And the way I view that is kind of like you don't want to rip it out. It's almost like just unplugging the plug out of the wall. You're unplugging that cord out of your body. And you can ask that it be sent back to the white light of the universe to be transmuted. You don't necessarily want to send it back to the person who is courting you because it's not the greatest energy. So do yourself both, do do both of yourselves, there we go, a favor and just have it be transmuted. And Archangel Michael, like I said, really does a lot of that, or will do that for you. So I talked about, hurt feelings. I talked about feeling stuff so strongly. But one of the other things I want to talk about is living other people's lives. I know that for the longest time I had that issue, and that can happen to an empath. We have a hard time with boundaries. Empaths tend to want to make it right, want to help. Sometimes, as empaths, so we absorb other people's feelings and emotions, which is not healthy. And again, it's about asking yourself, really just stopping and pausing. Does this belong to me or does this belong to somebody else? Does this make sense, what I'm feeling? It just doesn't make, if you will, logical sense. Okay. And so I know that the way it affected me was I really focused on everybody else's life, even into my adult years. And I've learned not to do that anymore. I've learned to put myself forward, front and forward, and have my boundaries. Really important as an empath because part of the reason why we're so compelled to help, we're so compelled to move forward, we're so compelled to take it away for somebody is because we feel their pain. We feel their anguish because we're empathic. So, um, so again, understand though, if you will, hold on, my spirit team is saying something here to me. To remember that you have a hand to help, but not hands to take it. What do they mean by that? There's an analogy that comes up. You may have heard me say this before, but basically, if you will, and this is kind of minimizing it. I'm not trying to minimize the emotions that go with this and the feelings. Believe me, I have lived it so full and so deep. It's sometimes been really hard to function in my own life. But imagine that as an example for helping somebody. Okay, your friend calls you up and says, hey, I've got 100 boxes to move from house A to house B. Will you help me? And you say, absolutely, I'll help you. You go over, you take the boxes, you put them in the truck, you drive them over to the new place, and you unload all the boxes. You help them unload all the boxes, and you put them in the corner. You don't take the box home with you. You don't take even one box home with you because it's not yours. You've helped, you've given a hand, you've had your boundaries. It's not yours to take home. None of those boxes are yours to take home. It's really important because as empaths, we almost do it naturally. Do any of you have that issue where you feel you either overhelp, you don't keep your boundaries? The other thing, let me know in the comments, because the other thing with that, and I think some of you may have heard this terminology, are the energy vampires. And that's another piece that this brings me to, which is feeling exhausted. Not just from this week, but in general, there are times you can feel so exhausted. Because think about it, we're not just having our own emotions and that energy come at us, but we're having everybody else's emotions pile on. Tony says, oh, Lordy, yes. Right? So some of that with the, the boundaries and helping people and making sure that you're putting yourself in a place where, you're in a place of more self-care and doing what you need to do for you. It is about having some of those boundaries. And let me tell you, especially as an empath, because again, we feel these emotions so much stronger than most people. Some of it is the amount of emotions. A lot of it is the depth. Because if we're open to this, if we're an empath, it's not just one person's feelings. We are feeling the universe's feelings. And that is a lot to take on. So this is why sometimes as empaths, we are introverted, not always, but we need to disconnect. We need to power down, if you will, and clear your energy. Just in general, clear your energy because it's about making sure that the energy that is in your space is of your own making and for your highest good. Okay. So the tiredness, because we're trying to process everything for everybody. Again, that is really tough to do. Elvira, excuse me. Yes, I call it toxic people. And it's true. Um, Let me explain this a little bit because energy vampires is not the nicest, prettiest thing to call it. But it's because remember that we're all energy. And what's happening is um, we communicate energetically with each other first before we do anything else. So this person that we may call an energy vampire or a toxic person, it's not necessarily that consciously they're pulling on you, they're throwing that, if you will, garbage at you. Um, it's energetically, they're not aware of it. Energetically though, they see you, they sense your signal that you are an empath, and it's nothing you're doing wrong. It's nothing at all. It's just the way energy works. That's why boundaries are very important. That's why disconnecting is very important. That's why taking your downtime is really important. That's why going out in nature is really important because there's a lot of calm and peaceful energy. Okay, and Dana says, yes, mother has beginning Alzheimer's. I'm so sorry for that. And I have to walk away at times. It's exhausting. Yes, well, the Alzheimer's itself can be exhausting, but there are no filters when they have Alzheimer's, is my understanding. And so, yeah, that is a tough thing. And so I want to say, Dana, kudos to you for walking away, knowing that you have to put your self-care in there because what happens is again, you don't want to overwhelm yourself where you kind of crash and burn, right? And it's really, really hard because we have a hard time not caring because we can feel it in other people. And we know what it feels like. It's a lousy feeling if we feel like, if we feel bad or we're hurting or whatever. And that's why we rush in to help so much. But again, it's really important to start to discern what is somebody else's and what's yours so that you can get clearer for yourself. And it doesn't, again, you can help that person, but make sure you don't own it. Make sure you don't absorb it. Many of us, for a lot of years, have absorbed other people's stuff, which is not healthy for any of us. Okay, and let's see. Chrissy says, hard time worrying what people think. Still taking a long time to realize it, live my life and let the negativity out. Still, I can't talk tonight. Still dealing with it and how to move on from it, of that, if that makes sense. Yes, it does. It does. And Patricia says, yes, I feel that a lot working in the emergency department in the psych ward. Wow, yeah, blessings. Okay, yeah. So the worrying part, you're looking at a reformed worrier, I still slip into it, honestly. What do people think? And what is this? What that, am I doing it right? Every once in a while, I'll still flip into that's human nature. It's okay. I give myself grace on it. And then I remind myself. But that is part of being an empath. We're always worried about what everybody else is thinking about us and everybody else is feeling. And so we always worry, how are we affecting it? How are we affecting it? And I'm hearing very clearly from my team, just be you. Just be you. And this is for everybody, not just Christy, not just Patricia. Hi, Teresa. Welcome. I'm glad you made it to hang out a bit. So let me go back up here for a minute. So it's taking a long time to realize it's your life. Well, yes, because again, as empaths, we feel it so much. It's very hard for us not to care. I have to tell you, I've had to step back myself in some big ways, not that long ago. And the first time I did it, it was one of the hardest things for me to do. I felt bad. Am I being a bad person? Will they like me? Oh my God. That's an empath because everything we feel is ramped up 1,000 times. It truly is. So again, it's about Christy and everybody else. It's You're doing a great job of letting the negativity out. And the more you work this, the more you'll get clear of again of what's yours and what is somebody else's. Okay, it's really, really important to survive as an empath to do that. And again, it's not just, wow, I wonder. You can ask yourself those questions. When I'm in a situation where I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? What is that? I just don't feel it's mine. Step back and ask yourself, literally, okay, is this truly mine or not? Okay. Now it's not to do it in anger, like, oh, I bet you it's so and so's because they were feeling this the other day. Don't get angry. It's not about anger because I don't realize. And this is something natural for you to do as an empath. Excuse me. Just do this all with love. Okay. So, and welcome. I see some new people are showing up. You can go ahead and say hello. If you want to join into, if you want to just observe, absolutely. If you want to join in the conversation, please feel free to. That's what makes this so great. We have, exchange of ideas and you guys tell me things and I can, respond to it. So it's great. You guys tell me things. You guys share things. So, okay. Patricia, you work in the emergency department in the psych ward. That has got to be some heavy stuff. So I am hoping that you do everything you can to protect yourself the best you can. And one of the tools, hi Martha, welcome. I'm so glad you're joining us this evening. One of the tools I want to share, and Patricia, you may already know this, and this is for everyone, because I do it daily. Because we are so sensitive, right? That's what empathic is. We're very, very sensitive. What can we do to shield ourselves before it even hits us, before we have to turn around and go, whoa, what was that? And process it or what have we. One of my favorite and fail safes, at least I believe, is a bubble of white light. And I step into it and completely encase myself in a bubble of white light. That's God source, the I am, the higher power, whatever you want to call that. And by doing that, you're completely encased in what it is. It will help shield you. I'm not saying like nothing's going to get through, but it's going to help. It's like putting the filter over the window, the screen over the window. It filters out some of the light, right? So that's what this energy, this bubble of white light energy can help you with. And it's not to be afraid. It's not for, some people use the word, oh, protect you. I'm very careful with that word because I like the word shield more. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just to shield yourself because the more you do this, the healthier you're going to get, the stronger you're going to get, the more you're going to be in your boundaries, which is really, really important for an empath. Because again, we get pulled in because we're feeling it so intently. That's why a lot of us, it's hard for us to have boundaries because we don't like the conflict because we feel everybody's stuff all at once. And it's not just your emotions you're processing in this conflict, you're processing everybody else's. And I just heard really clearly from my spirit team, a lot of us, because we're empathic, we always are taking the temperature of the room. Okay, you know what I mean? You're always checking into that energy. You're always checking into that temperature. And some of that is almost a coping mechanism with us. I don't want to say quite innate, but that's what we've learned to do. So the more you can shield yourself, the more you can separate from it, the more you can be free of having to take the temperature all the time because you'll be stronger in your space. You'll be more balanced, more centered, more grounded. So this has far-reaching ways it can help you too to feel stronger in your life. And remember, the first step, the first time maybe you do put out your boundaries, it may feel awful, but talk yourself through it. It's really only about you questioning, well, am I a good person? Did I hurt someone's feelings? Because that's the way, as an empath, we think, because everything is about feeling it. So we're very, very tuned into it and very sensitive to it, not only for ourselves, but how are we, how are we making other people feel? Okay. Ooh, that's not nice. Okay. It's not about being nasty to somebody else. It's just about being empowered in your own space. And it's about knowing that you can handle everything with grace and love and compassion. That's really important. And again, the stronger you get, the more you can discern, the more you come at it uh, a little bit more detached, so it doesn't have that emotional charge to it sometimes. All right, let me see. I've got some more comments here. Well, hi, let's see. And welcome. I see some more people joined us for Table Talk Thursdays. This is the weekly live event. I am Elyse Ann Psychic, the Psychic Liaison, Bridge to the Unseen. Please feel free to follow and like my page so you'll receive notifications of when I go live. I have another live during the week on Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Arizona time. I do mini readings, so I hope you'll join us for that also. All right, so let's see. Dana, I've learned that I fall into the category of INFJ, introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judgmental. Okay, and yes, they do have categories. Absolutely. I'm not going to talk a lot about categories, but I meant like I'm not going to go talk on and on about it, but I do want to address Dana's. Um, Introverted is because you're protecting yourself the best you can. And we do need to disconnect, and it's okay. The thing we have to do is give ourselves permission to be okay with being introverted. Again, we're so emotionally tapped in that we're like, oh, does it seem bad? Or maybe I'm letting someone down. We have to stop doing that to ourselves. We have to honor ourselves and what we need. That's a huge part of this. Are you an empath? Yes, you can be an empath, but you can do it from the healthiest position that you can. So intuitive, yes, we talked about being an empathic as part of intuition. Feeling, well, we feel everything. The judgmental part, to me, when I read it, it struck me intuitively, psychically, as that's just your protection. And it's okay, Dana. That's your protection. That's how you survive out there, because it's kind of like, if you will, if you can equate it a little bit to the fight or flight mode. So be kind to yourself on that. And you can start working on that too with, it's kind of shielding ourselves from that energy hitting us. That's a mechanism we use. And there are other ways we can do that. And that's what we've been talking about tonight, by adopting some of these things and moving into healing it and working with it more, and working with Archangel Michael and the bubble of white light energy. These are all things that are going to help you to not necessarily have to have um, that coping mechanism. And this is in no way a criticism. We all have our coping mechanisms. Okay. Judgmental. Hi, I used to be so judgmental. And I have to say, there are still times I am. I'm working on it. But I know it's the way I protect myself. So I have grace for myself. I have grace for myself. Remember, you guys, we are not just a spiritual being having a human experience, but we're a human being having a spiritual experience. We have to honor both. All right, Marty. I think as mothers, we sometimes get criticized that everything isn't done for the benefit of our kids. Well, that is very judgmental of people to do. Everybody seems to have an opinion and wants their opinion to be correct. And yes, I understand that. It's how do you process it? Do you take it in as truth, or do you step back? And this is a generality for something like this, everyone. Or do you step back and question it and just say, well, do I feel I did what was best, or that we don't have to accept other people's judgment of us, as long as you don't absorb it and we truly step back and ask ourselves, okay, is there something here, a lesson or something that I need to be aware of? And if so, great, take that nugget with grace and compassion. Or you just connect from the feelings of others and you say, okay, from my perspective, how do I feel about it? And that's what's really important. Oh, tell Eliza I said hi, Martha. Thank you. So I hope that that helped you on that, Marty, because that's the way I would address that. And that's what makes it so hard as empaths. That's great. That kind of puts me into going further down the road with that. We tend to worry what everybody else is thinking about us because we're so sensitive to emotion and because we feel it so deep. So when we feel hurt by someone, we don't just feel hurt. We feel about 1,000 times magnified hurt. I know. I've lived it. So again, it's some of this is just unraveling, being aware, talking with yourself, talking to yourself, working with your team and your tools. Patricia says, yes, the bubble of white light does help. I'm glad because that's what I do. Hi, Shakti. Welcome. I'm doing well. Thank you. Hi, Andrew. Glad you're joining us. And Mady, hi. I'm so glad you guys are joining us tonight for Table Talk Thursdays. And just so you know, since you are new here, I just want to make sure I've said it already. There's several of you that just popped on that are new. Please follow and like my Elyse Ann Psychic page for when I go live. And I also want to just let you know I have another weekly live I do Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Arizona time, Mountain Standard Time. It's mini psychic reading. So I hope you'll join us for that. Okay, so um, let's see. So Andrew, kind of crazy your live popped up on my Facebook because no one shared it or I am friends with anybody or anyone or anyone I am friends with. Interesting. Well, Andrew, that means you were meant to be here. I'm glad you are. You know, you can also, I just want to share with all of you, you know, this will be posted on my Elyse Ann Psychic page when this live is over. So I hope maybe you'll start it at the beginning and replay it because there's been a lot of good information that has come up so far and a lot of good tools. Um, and I'm going to backtrack just slightly. Um, just for everyone. The other piece is okay. I'm kind of jumping around as you can tell again. So it's about having our boundaries. It's about disconnecting. It's about understanding what is yours and what's not yours. When you're an empath, it makes it really, really difficult. And I know for myself, I think I brought this up before, but I think I got sidetracked. For myself, I feel physical. Always a reason we just don't always know what it is. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so physically, it's not just the emotions that I feel. I can feel other people's pain, like physical. Or again, in my lives, some of you have been on my Wednesday reading, mini reading live, Facebook Live event and you can see me like I'm like okay I can feel your jitter like and I'll start physically showing that or you know my leg will start bouncing up and down, whatever it is or I can feel the pain and so that's a piece I want to bring up that is a possibility too for some of you that it's not just the emotional part that you're feeling but sometimes you may be feeling the physical again one of the most important things to start working with yourself on do not absorb it. Do your best. Ask yourself, is this really mine or is it not mine? It is so important because the more you can do that, the clearer your life is going to become. And you're going to start living your life more for yourself because as an empath, we live life for everyone else. Okay, till we learn not to. We feel it's our purpose to make everything all right, everybody feel all right. And it's not. It's not our purpose. Our purpose is to help, but it's not our purpose to take it on. And we do not have to get involved in every single situation because the most important thing is not burning yourself out. So when you need to disconnect, disconnect. When you need to be introverted, introvert for a little bit. Do it from a space of love that you need it. And if people are tugging on you, well, I need this and I need that. Come on, come on. Look, I've grown children now, but I understand as a mom, sometimes we just have to do what we have to do if our children are young. Okay, I get that. But at the same time, there comes a point where we have to make sure that we carve out some time for ourselves, not to the detriment of, you know, your child or something like that. But make sure you carve out the time, because I know, hi, Susan, I'm so glad you're joining us. Yes, it is a very important topic. Um, because we're not going to be any good to anybody else if we just keep going, 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 going. And I know also that with this, I'm being told by Spirit too, as confirmation. A lot of us who are empaths, we push hard. We push hard to get everything done. Because again, because we feel so deeply and intensely, our own emotions for ourselves, our own emotions can be very intense and very deep. Okay, so we sometimes will push ourselves or push ourselves out of the way and do constantly push ourselves for others, because again, oh, we don't want to disappoint them. Oh, we know what it feels to be hurt. That's a biggie. I know for me, that's a biggie. And I used to get my feelings hurt all the time. Teresa says, amen. All the time. I mean, and my mother used to say to me, they're not doing it to you. Don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. But being an empath, because we feel it so intensely, we feel like we're taking it personally because we feel it so deeply. It feels very personal. So that's another reason to do your best to try and separate yourself from it. And again, ask yourself. And it's not about shutting down the emotions. It's about detaching from other people's emotions in that way, in that feeling everything. We don't have to feel everything. We don't have to process everything. We interact with it, but don't take it on. Don't absorb it as if it's your own. Now, I know it may be easy to say, but the more you practice some of this, the easier it's going to get for you. And sorry, I was just checking a note here I had. So again, it doesn't make you a bad person. If you can detach, okay, I'm hearing it very clearly from my team. One of the ways that you can possibly detach and help yourself to detach is to truly ask yourself, does this make sense, or am I just, I don't know if I like that wording. Am I deserving of this? In other words, does what's happening, what I'm absorbing, make sense to the situation and here we go, and my contribution to it? Okay. Let me reword, let me re-speak that. The emotions that I'm feeling, those things that I'm feeling so deeply and intensely, does it fit to how I may have contributed to the situation? Okay. Because we are an empath, we feel it so much harder, so much tougher, so much deeper, so much more intensive, that lots of times we're just taking it in that way. It's not so much what's coming from the other person. It's just, all these emotions are flying around. That's part of why Christy says, I do take things personally and it stinks even if it's not towards me. Well, that's because you're absorbing. See, you're stepping in, Christy, and you're taking it on for other people. That's what empaths tend to do. That's why when we see somebody, we want to help them because we care so deeply. Everything's at deep intensity, which drives us even further and more to do these things. But again, it's not the healthiest for us because we need to make sure that we're balanced in all of it. And yes, you're absorbing it. So do your best when you feel that. Talk to your team, talk to Archangel Michael, ask them to clear that for you. I'm hearing very clearly from my team, we are not going to solve anything by taking it on for others. Wow, that was great for me to hear too. See, I get information from these two, so I love it. We're not going to solve by taking it on. Really, actually, and they're still talking to me about this too, which they do throughout the live, but they're being very clear about it. Yes, Christy says. We're actually doing a disservice by taking it from them. We're absorbing it for them. Now, that's not a wag a finger at you kind of thing. That's not what we're talking about. It's making you aware that all of us have a journey and all of us need to experience what we need to experience. And I get some of this is just so natural. We're not even aware we're doing it because we are empathic. And that's what we've been our whole life. But I know we all struggle in one way or another. Okay, I can tell from the comments and just knowing myself, living that from a very, That's who I am. I was born that way. So Susan Booth says, right, we cannot solve it by taking it on, and I cannot heal anyone with my body. Oh, I love that. Very true, because it's the emotions. And the emotions are hitting our body and creating these reactions and this intensity to our body, which is not the healthiest either. Thank you, Susan. I love that. And thank you, Spirit, for bringing that up. We can't solve it for them. That was the whole thing with, that analogy with the U-Haul and, moving boxes, helping your friend move boxes. Again, it's not our job to unpack it all for them or take it home. Really, we can help them with unpacking, but it's not yours to take any of it home. It's not. It's theirs. So if you can start to work that out for yourself too when it comes to emotions and taking on everybody else's stuff, hopefully that'll help you start to differentiate and start to, if you will, pull away from taking it all on. And again, this is, I'm not sitting here saying, gee, come on, it's easy. This has been a journey for me also, and I'm still working through it. So I just want to encourage all of you, one step at a time with that, and be gentle and kind with yourself. And if people say to you, oh, you're too emotional, oh, you're too sensitive, oh, it's your fault, oh, whatever, know the truth of the matter. Don't take it on. Because that I got the, you're too emotional my whole life. And it used to get me down, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I, that's the way I took it on. I no longer do that, of course. When I was much younger, that's the way I processed it. And I love my empathic ability because it helps me to be that much more in tune for my clients, when I do my psychic readings or my healings. I love that part of me. I embrace it. Sometimes it does take me down a little bit, like I talked about this past weekend, and that energy, I almost couldn't claw myself out of it for a few days. It was tough. But I recognized during that period, even though I was feeling it intensely, I did remind myself, I know this is not all mine. Maybe some of it is, it tripped me in there, but I know it's not all mine. And sometimes that's enough just to keep us going. Okay, so let's see what Teresa said. What can you do to avoid cynicism that results from caring so much all the time and realizing others don't care nearly as much? We love and serve so much, but rarely experience it in return. I've started to shut down to protect it and felt a feeling of cynicism. I get you. I've gone through that myself. And what I'm hearing very clearly is detach from the outcome. It's very hard because there's so much stuff going on. Okay. And I know you're not just talking about everything going on in our country, just everything in general. There's a lot of polarization. And the cynicism or people not caring so much, whatever their viewpoint is. And I'm not talking about this politically either. I don't get into politics, it's a generality. Okay. Be true to yourself. It can be very hard to see other people's differing behavior, if you will, or cynicism or not caring. Very important, especially as empaths. And I've struggled with this recently. I've been working on it, and I have myself struggled with it. And I have gotten pulled in at times. And I have to remind myself, I have to step back and I have to say, okay, that's enough. We're not going to allow ourselves to be pulled into it. And I'm going to focus on the people who care, the people who can show me the way, the people that are the same as me. And it doesn't mean that it's necessarily people that you know personally, but you can read articles, you can see whatever you care about, whatever it is that's tugging on you. There are always people out there helping others or fighting for a cause, if you will. One of the best ways to avoid that cynicism is changing your focus. It doesn't mean that the cynicism doesn't exist. But what it means is you're going to be authentic and true to yourself. And you're going to focus on those that are of like mind. And by doing so, you're going to empower yourself more. You're going to get stronger. And then maybe you'll find a way that you can help move towards less cynicism in the world. Now, I felt that deep breath there, Teresa. It's not about you taking it all on, honey. I can feel it. Woo! See, there's my empath. I felt that literally, physically. Chrissy says I needed that for sure tonight. Wow. Well, thank you. I'm so glad. And Teresa. Okay, let me go back to Teresa and then I'll come to you, Susan. Um, so Teresa, and this is for everybody, of course. Sometimes for self-preservation, we have to change our focus. And it makes us sad that maybe these people are cynical, but for self-preservation, again, focus on those that feel the same as you or show the same as you. Yes, exists, but part of it is because you're an empath, it hits you that much more. Okay. And there are ways to put up boundaries without being cynical. And I understand it because I've been in there. Okay. We can look at putting up those boundaries from the perspective of what's for our own highest good. Do I choose to have that energy in my world? No. And then trust that spirit will bring to you the correct people. Now, there may be people that come to you. When I say correct, I mean those of like vibration. Okay. Correct wasn't quite the right word there. Or the clearest word. So, come from a place of empowerment that you're doing what's best for you. And that it's about, with love and compassion, shielding yourself and protecting yourself and putting yourself first. Not flipping into their cynicism. Try to disconnect from that. I know it's hard to do, you guys. Look, again, I have walked this journey for a long, long time. I've been working on this, and I've told you tonight, I still have issues at times. I still struggle. I'm never here to say, woo, look at me. No, that's not what this is about. I want you to know I walk the same path you guys do. That's why I do what I do, to help people. So, all right. So Susan says, whoa, my big emotions in my younger days were likely a result of my empathic gifts. I have never considered that. Thank you a million times over for that. Well, Susan, you are so welcome, because I'm going to tell you, yes, 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 resounding yes, capital letters, neon sign flashing. Yes, your big reactions. You are an empath. And again, I don't know if you were on here when I talked about it. You're welcome, Teresa. Um, that, that, it's hard when we're younger because we don't understand it. And especially when we're called out by people in our life. Like I was talking about, I have been. You're too emotional. I heard that my whole childhood. You're too sensitive. You're too emotional. You're too emotional. You're too sensitive. And when you don't have the tools or you don't know what's happening, you absorb that. And so you start to question yourself. But I'm not saying you did, but I'm talking from my own experience, Susan. But yes, those big emotions, you're an empath. It's not like all of a sudden one day you woke up, you're an empath. You were born that way. We all were born that way. Susan says your authenticity is so helpful and inspiring. Well, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's my truth. I stay in my authenticity. I'm never here to, like I said, never here to say, "Woo, look at me, I'm so perfect." No, far from it. You only knew the whole story. So, okay, we're coming back down to the last few minutes with anybody. Susan, yes, I did too. Awesome. Um, if anybody has a last comment that they would like to share, or a question very quickly, while I'm waiting to see, what I'd like to say to everybody is thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm so thrilled everybody was here. And hopefully we've gotten some great tips and sharing, and you can go forward with these tools and the knowledge that you're not alone. That was one of the biggest things. You're not alone. Okay. And be kind to yourself and compassionate. So I want to say thank you so much for being part of the weekly Table Talk Thursdays live event. Please follow and like my Elyse Ann Psychic page. You'll get notifications of when I go live. And check out my website if you'd like, ElyseAnnPsychic.com. You can learn more about me, the services I offer. And I just want to end by saying much love and blessings to all. Allow the purity of your love to embrace yourself and to envelope yourself, because that's truly the empathic way. We have so much love that we just want the whole world to feel it. So much blessings tonight, and you're welcome, Elvira. I hope to see you guys again soon. You're welcome, Martha. Thank you so much. And again, this will be on my page, my Elyse Ann Psychic page, if you want to go back from the beginning and start there. You're welcome, Christy. Thanks again, you guys. Much love, much blessings. Have a great rest of your evening.